Good morning, everyone. This is Roshan Bhondekar joining from Spain. You're watching 360-degree live show hosted by Transformative Times. The purpose of this show to bring people who are working in different industries like filmmaking, IT, aviation, hospitality, and so many different industries, right? So the purpose of this show intended to support a voice of people who are doing something different on the ground. Whereas we have find one person who is in industry, IT industry more than 12 years, working as a security professional, IT security professional, as well as he also made some films in Telugu, and those films, touching social subjects and all. So here is Vikram Khatri joining us from India on Transcontinental Times. Vikram, welcome on
Hello,
Transcontinental Times.
hello everyone. Hi Roshan. Thank you so much.
Good to have you, Vikram, on Transformative Times. Just to begin our discussion, right? So the agenda of discussion to have, to understand your experience and also the filmmaking journey, as well as your, travel and food blogging and all, right? So just to begin with that, I just wanted to understand uh, when you started your journey as an IT professional almost 12 years ago, right? So I seen you are coming from electronic background, electronic engineering background, and you have seen industry ups and downs in last 12 years. So what was your mind when you thought being an electronics telecommunication engineer to join IT industry, because you are coming from different line circuits, electronic equipment and all, right? That understanding and all, and you thought, and you are very successful in last 12 years in IT industry. So there was complete change in your field as well as your dream as well, right? So if you could elaborate on that, what inspired you to join IT industry, and also how you see that opportunity in upcoming years.
Yeah, so during my college, my favorite subject has always been networking. So when I joined IT industry, I chose the field of networking, and that's really my motivation factor. And I would say I really enjoyed my career so far because of the choice I made. I mean, in networking, there are so many subdomains. Network security, I've been largely into network security, which deals with your firewalls, so protecting your networks, your internet, everything from attackers. So that has been very, very challenging as well as interesting part. However, I have other passions in my life, so I do pursue them as hobbies.
Good to know that. But apart from that, you have seen industry, in last 12 years, right? So what do you think the engineers, those are recently graduated from the colleges, right? So they are coming, they are joining, and there's some kind of the thought process they should carry, right? So what, based on your experience, what is your the key areas where the youth can improve?
Yeah, if they're really, really into IT, I would say they should focus more on security, focus more on cloud. Even they're doing a development, they should be more on serverless technologies, not really the heavy applications that were existing before. So now everything is in cloud, so you have to be very, very agile, and the security also plays a major part because cloud is a very fast-moving platform where the vendor itself don't have a lot of control. Like if you're posting something in your cloud, it is the infra is not managed by you; it is managed by a third party. So you still have to have a lot of things in place in your systems to protect it from attackers. You only have control on the software component, not on the hardware component. So you still have to have a lot of controls in place. So the focus on security and cloud, I would say, is the way to go forward.
That is good point you mentioned, right? So everything is on right now in cloud. But what I see, the mostly professionals who are working in IT industries, they have to go for certification like AWS, Microsoft Azure, and so many different cloud certification, right? So how this certification is important to secure the career in this industry, because you cannot work as a AWS architect without knowing AWS framework, right? So what is your thought on this? To being a certified is always better, or the person who's having a knowledge of 20 years can be can be good for this industry? What do you think?
Yeah, I would say certification helps, but nothing can beat experience. The classic example, if you look at cloud, it is basically your data center virtualized. Previously, you had a data center, and right now you have a data center which you are leasing to multiple people, asking them to develop their own mini data centers in it. So it's basically the same old wine in a new bottle with
Mhm.
more controls in place. So I would say that's what experience teaches you. A guy starting today would not know that. However, a guy who has started 10 years ago or 15 years ago would definitely understand where it's coming from. So experience always helps.
Mhm.
And certification does matter because a lot of companies always want certified guys because certification proves that you can work in the cloud. Definitely.
That's absolutely a good point. But if you look at the newcomers, right? Those are coming in industry. If you talk about last 5 years trend, there are
Hmm.
less jobs in industry and all, right? But some, the youth, mostly youth, are joining just a shake of, getting money and making themselves, very quick time to become a money making machine. So how you see this is a problem? Do you think this is a problem, or it's a problem of people, or it's a problem of system?
I think it's a problem of system because, especially in countries like India, if you
Hmm.
are a software engineer, people think that you're earning a lot of money, but a lot of jobs don't pay you a lot of money. Only certain cream roles have big money involved, but mostly you earn only the same money as a Uber driver or something. So don't really think that IT has a lot of money. If you are really passionate about your job, you can earn money everywhere. So if you're really passionate, yes, IT can give you money, but I think it's the job satisfaction that should matter. So don't just come in for money. If you're not happy, try something where you're passionate about. You can surely make money.
Absolutely. So ultimate goal is money should not be your the success factor, right? So mostly you joining just to get the money and then say, okay, I earned so XYZ dollar, and and going to the comfort zone, right? That should not be actually the way you should think upon. But apart from that, you have worked in Singapore almost more than 6 years, and now you are back in India. You started your journey from India, went back to Singapore. Now again, we went back to India. So, what is the key difference between work culture in IT in Singapore and India? Might be you have seen 50-50%, right? So there are
Yeah.
huge change. If you could elaborate, it will be good
Yes.
for people to understand.
I would say the difference is traveling in a people in India would understand this better. Traveling in a goods train and traveling in Shatabdi or Rajdhani. So for those who are in, outside India, difference is traveling in a bullet train or a hyperloop and then traveling in a normal old express train. So that is the difference of work culture in India and work culture in Singapore. Work culture in India is pretty laid back. People are usually 9 to 6 guys, 6 o'clock, I need to go home. Unless certain projects that require you to work extra, but I think largely it's a very laid back, relaxed work culture. But in Singapore, it's more of a fast pace. People, strive for excellence. Even though their job is done, they still want to do something and prove their point all the time. So it's a more competitive environment. So if you don't up your game, you will be left behind all the time.
Absolutely, and the computation is always the technology wise very advanced. If you talk about the policies for employees in Singapore are different, policies for employee in India are different, right? So might be people working hard in India and working so late in India, but in Singapore possibly you have to be very bound with
Yeah,
time.
just
Yeah,
working late is just not enough. There mostly is finish your work in time is the most important factor.
absolutely. So there where you mean in Singapore people are mostly very well, they are managing time very well, and they are bound to finish their work in the time. They cannot work more than what the time is the bound for, right? So that's the difference. And you mean you rightly mentioned you cannot compare apple with orange, right? So right now the system is like
Yes.
Singapore is actually like the apple, and in India we are
Work culture in India is more around orange. Yeah, but I would
good.
say people are moving towards that trend right now because when I came back, I
Uh-huh.
do see people working more aggressively
Uh-huh.
compared to what I saw 6 years before. So yeah,
Great. Uh-huh. Good to know. Yeah, so that's nice to know your experience in IT industry. Now let's move to your filmmaking career, right? So you have made four films in Telugu in last 1.5 years, And those
Mhm.
films I have seen personally, and I feel that every subject which you guys have chosen, and you being a producer, right? So those films touching some serious issues of the society, and that is what exact the purpose of filmmaking is all about. So being an IT engineer, what made you to think about filmmaking, and what is your the trigger point when you thought, okay, let's go for filmmaking? If you could elaborate on that, it will be great.
Yeah, the major idea of going for filmmaking was, of late I've seen a lot of YouTube content in India is more of adult content, or exciting people to watch it or something like that, or more of a cringe based content. So I wanted to make something that is entertaining, funny, at the same time touches the social issues, so people can watch. And if even 5% of the people who watch change their ideology, I think my role is done. I didn't really make them for money. It was more of my passion to make films. So even though I didn't make a hell lot of money, I still continued making them, and I will continue making such films. Yeah.
Definitely. But do you think being a producer, during choosing a cast, because choosing a cast is also more important, and also the script of movie is more important when you start any filmmaking project. So when you see that challenges, then how you made that challenges and convert it into opportunity? Do you have any experience, positive experience, when you started your film projects, whereas you see that, okay,
Um,
yeah,
So I am a guy who hires a person to do the job and lets the person to do the job. So I don't micromanage the project. So I chose a director and a script writer. They have some characters in their mind, and they have some characteristics of a person in their mind who they want to choose. So the writer and the director actually chose the cast. I just gave a green signal. I never actually got involved in choosing the cast ever.
okay, so you was a producer, and that's what you thought, okay, I am going to invest money, I don't care about people,
Not
whatever you.
really, not really, not really. You have to,
Okay,
because the writer and the director are the captains of the ship. So
absolutely.
if you don't trust the captain, I'm just the owner of the ship. The
Okay.
captains have to drive the ship forward. So you have to trust the captain and let them do their job, right? That's what I
Absolutely.
did. Of course, I will say, if I did say at one place that I don't really feel this character is suitable, and we replace the guy, but largely I accept whatever they give me as long as it's not exceeding my budget.
So that's a good point. Actually, we have to trust people who are, assigned for, subject to responsibilities, and I think that's the right approach to drive and achieve some bigger project success. Right. That's a good point.
And and the people I work with were all experienced in the industry. They work with big wigs, so it's not that I just hired freshers and I was training them. So I have to trust the person if I hire someone to do a job.
That's good to know. Good to know about your experience and all that. But apart from that, uh, if you look at filmmaking, right? So what are the key areas you think in upcoming 10 years, whereas you wanted to work as a producer and bring those subjects which are burning issues in India or burning issues in a global level? So what is your future plan in the filmmaking industry?
I do want to make a film where we say all the humans are one. We are not different. So probably break the barriers of racism, break the barriers of differentialism, where people say I am different than you just because we speak different language, or we are of different color, or whatsoever. And at an Indian scale, there are much more deeper issues where I want to focus on women empowerment. I want to focus on how a newlywed bride is treated in her in-laws place. Because if you know, a lot of traditional families or conservative families don't encourage the women to work. So all these kinds of issues I want to touch upon.
That's good point, Vikram, and happy to know what you're exactly planning for upcoming 10 years. That's indeed value addition will be for the film industry. But now let's move towards your another passion, whereas you started almost 3 to 4 years ago this passion about travel and food blogger, right? So what is the idea behind this? Because I seen you are more keen towards covering most new places in around Singapore, also in India as well. right? So what is keeping you motivated to doing this kind of additional work which explore the another side of world, and you give that information to people without including any cost?
Yeah. So the only idea is wherever I go, I like to travel or I like to live like a local. So it's just a proverb of when in Rome, just be the live like a Roman, right? Something like that. So if you go to Singapore as a tourist, you would largely go to your local cuisines. Like if an Italian goes to Singapore, largely he'll find Italian restaurants or he'll eat in an expensive restaurant because he doesn't know if he can trust the local food.
Mhm,
He doesn't know if he can trust a hawker center.
mhm,
So that's why my role, I wanted to encourage these hawker centers, these delicious local joints that are not internationally acclaimed.
mhm,
Like the Marina Bay Sands in Singapore is very famous everywhere. Everyone knows about it.
mhm,
However, a small hawker center or a small famous biryani joint in Little India in Singapore is not famous beyond Singapore or beyond the Indian community in Singapore. So I wanted to bring those to globe on the internet so that people can see that, and if they are really keen into that kind of food and they really don't know where to go and find in Singapore, they can just go. That's all.
that is very interesting, right? But how you manage being a IT engineer, being a filmmaker, now you are also being a travel and food blogger. How you manage this multitasking work, and these are the creative work, because you need imagination, you need ideas, you need that power to implement and produce that kind of extraordinary content, right? So if you could share some experience how you manage it, it will be good for our audience to understand.
Yeah, so largely when I'm at work, I'm at work. I don't want to do multitasking between the work because that is your ethical promise to your employer for money you take. So after work, you have your free time. So you're free to do whatever you want to do in your free time. So filmmaking wise, I spend like only 1 or 2 hours or 3 hours a week to listen to stories. Once a story is finalized, then we go much deeper into selecting the cast, finalizing the location. Largely, I've done everything remotely because of this pandemic. So I have not really been actively involved in groundwork. I was just on calls and seeing the photos, doing video calls to finalize the location, all those kinds of stuff. So all this can be done in your free time. And vlogging, I largely did on weekends. Weekends you're always free, and my jobs have always been such that I don't really work 7 days a week. So yeah, so I have my free time and I use that free time effectively. So you always can do if you're interested. You're never busy if you want to do it.
That's again another right point you nicely explained, right? But apart from that, let's talk about filmmaking again, right? We are going into the subject, right? So, being a filmmaker, do you think the person who wanted to become an actor or become a producer, director, writer, whatever they wanted to become, uh, do they need to obtain some kind of qualification from film institute, like getting some kind of diploma courses, degree courses, and then join industry and then feel more confident? What is your view on that? Because you haven't gone, because you are being an engineer and you started from scratch while while studying and while researching how industry works, right? But what about people who don't have that knowledge, and how they can start?
First I'll touch on the institute part.
Hmm.
Going to a good institute definitely helps. It's like going to a school for your degree. So you can be homeschooled and be an engineer, and but 90% of the people don't work that fast, are not that gifted to be homeschooled and be an engineer, right? So you still need a school, and going to school is not bad. If you are not a born actor, it doesn't matter. You can learn it by experience, by process, right? So that's fine. However, I would say that some people are just natural in acting, and those people really don't need a school. I've seen a couple of them in my films. They're really so natural in their comic timing, in their acting, that even when you're talking to them, you feel like it's the same guy you saw on the screen. So that's how good they are. So I mean, It depends. So going to institute is not bad. Definitely, in the amount of competition out there, if you go to a good institute, have a degree, it's same like going to a college. A company comes, picks up a student from the college. So some big movie companies actually go to these institutes, do an audition there, and pick up people for the roles from there. So going to institute is definitely not bad. However, I would say there are people in the industry who have excelled without going to any institute, any movie, or acting classes or anything.
Yeah, but that is a very interesting topic you just touched upon, right? But what about people who are living in slum because they don't pay that kind of big money for going to the school or going to the film institute and all, right? But in mostly mostly countries, I'm talking about Pakistan, then talking about India specifically, we have a talent. If I talk about Spain, we have also talent, right? But they cannot the people who are living in slum, they cannot join any film institute or colleges, but they want to become an actor or they wanted to become a filmmaker. So what do you think in that way? How they can aspire that their dream to achieve and join the film industry?
I think the talent shows that definitely help.
Mhm.
Sometimes you get into the eyes of people when you join these talent shows, and if you show up your skill, and even though you don't go to the finale of the talent show, at least you are in the eyes of those people who are looking for somebody like you. So they would approach you. One is that. The second approach I would say is go give auditions back to back, practice daily. You don't really need institute actually. You can see a video in YouTube and just try to mimic that. That's enough to like. There are so many good actors, right? There are so many good actors in Bollywood. I would say Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan, Amir Khan. Everybody has their own strong point. Some are very good in drama. Some are very good in their comic sense. Some
Mhm.
are very good in how they present themselves. So you can learn those things and also add your own flavor to that. So, like Johnny Depp in Hollywood, his comic timing and the way he presents himself on the screen is excellent. So, I would say you always don't need an institute to be a great actor. However, institutes do help. So, if you are able to afford and if you're serious about filmmaking, just go join a school. However, if you are naturally gifted and you are an engineering student, I would still ask you to join any good filmmaking institute
That's good to know that.
and while you're working I've seen so many engineers join the film industry and do very good. Sushant Singh Rajput was an engineer.
Correct, correct. Yeah, that's good point to know your thoughts on this topic, filmmaking topic, right, Vikram? Now let's move to the IT industry. As we started with IT industry, right? So, what is your message you wanted to pass to the upcoming engineers, those are joining industry, and how they see IT industry in upcoming 10 years? Because I see everything is going to the cloud and automations. Everything will be moved to the automation, right? So there will be huge cut in manpower. That's what I see in next 10 years. And also, what is your suggestion it for those youth who wanted to join industry and becoming a IT professional? What is the pain? What is the great area they have to focus on?
In the current trend I would say if you're not really into computers or into technology, don't really follow your passion in IT industry. Just follow what you are very passionate about. Like previously photographers couldn't earn enough money, but if they are very skilled enough, now definitely they can join film industry, they can join a lot of media out there who pay handsomely for photography and videography. So the opportunities are rising. So don't just limit yourself to IT industry. If you are really passionate about other fields, join that, follow your heart. This is the most important message, that's all.
That's good to know, Vikram. Now we are almost towards the ending of our discussion, right? So before leaving this discussion, what is your the key advice to people? There are many people who wanted to become a food blogger or travel blogger. What do you suggest when they wanted to start and how they wanted to start, and what should be their focus areas in upcoming 10 years to become a that expert in that industry, food and travel industry?
Got it. So there are different people who are different styles of vloggers. You will see a vlogger who always travels 5 star, and you will see a vlogger who travels like a backpacker. You will see a moto vlogger who has his own motorcycle and travels across the country or across borders. So do what you are comfortable with. Like I'm a backpacker kind of a traveler. I don't like 5 star stays. I'm happy with a small bed and get going the next day, go to a local joint, eat food there. I don't worry about the hygiene part because ultimately your body strengthens slowly with that. Your body is made to cope up with all the issues in the world. Even we are developing antibodies against COVID after we get COVID, right? So it's all like that. So don't worry much. I'm that kind of a vlogger, but if you are comfortable traveling 5 star or traveling comfortably, you can do that also. Just do what you like and slowly. And sometimes, yes, I understand people think that we are not good enough for camera. Nobody is good enough on day one. Even most famous actors were rejected in their initial days of auditions. So just keep doing it. After a year or so, you will be natural in front of camera. And once you're natural in front of camera, I think you don't need to worry about it. The audience will come in.
That's good. It's all about the right things at right time, and just start it. Right. Don't wait for opportunity to come. Don't wait
Be
for
persistent.
be
Yeah,
persistent.
be persistent
Mhm.
and start from whatever you have in hand
Yeah.
and focus on editing. Editing is most important part of a vlog.
Yeah. In short, what we're trying to say that don't live in fantasy. Start working in practical and ground. Start. Doesn't
Yes.
matter if you don't dream for Oscar immediately, but work for Oscar. That's what we're trying to say that. And that's
Exactly. Keep excelling every day. Don't just think that day one you have to be expert to do that.
absolutely that's a good point. But uh, during this Corona pandemic times, it's last 1.5 years, we all are going through difficult challenges, right? In Europe, it's badly, badly we are going through, right? Spain, Italy, Germany, we are going again. Still, we are in a phase four and all, right? But right now, how you are coping up with this situation, being a creative person, being a filmmaker, being an IT professional, being also the food blogger and travel blogger, how you keep yourself motivated to give efforts and be persistent. So if you could give us two-liner inputs on that, it will be good for us to understand.
So if you ask me, I don't really have experience of vlogging in a very risky place. I've
Mhm.
been vlogging largely in Singapore, which is pretty safe, and the cases are like in single digits all the time. So you always feel safe, and I always vlog with my mask on. If
Uh-huh.
you see, most vloggers don't have the mask on. So I've always vlogged following the land, I mean, law of the land. Singapore doesn't allow
Mhm.
mask to be off even if you're a blogger,
Mhm.
as long as you don't have permission from government or the media.
Mhm.
So I've always vlogged with my mask on, unless I'm eating or doing something like a drinking. I have my mask on. So follow whatever the law of the land says and follow hygiene, especially in this time. Yes, you can go and eat at the stall, but after you eat, immediately wash your hands, sanitize, and move forward. So always follow hygiene first, and I think you don't need to worry about anything else. Even in because Corona is not really that airborne, it is still transmitting person to person. So follow safe distancing, follow hygiene maintenance, and I think you're good.
Thank you very much for Vikram for giving valuable insights for our audience to know the situation and
My
all.
pleasure.
It was really a good discussion, and I think you have covered all the angles, and it was really honored of to having you on the Transformative Times. We are looking forward to invite you again in upcoming years. Keep doing your good work. Keep bringing more films projects and magic in industry. We wanted to see as a growing and rising leader in upcoming 10 years in industry as well. So we are wishing you all the best,
And
and thanks for joining with us.
yeah, I really appreciate your attempt. I keep myself updated with transcontinental times, and I encourage whoever is watching this to follow you. They are really doing a great job. They are very neutral. There is no alignment to any kind of government or any kind of ideology. So I think this is the best platform to get yourself updated. Thank you, Roshan.
Yeah, Vikram. So before leaving this, just this is a note for our audience. Transported Times doing this kind of work, streaming, inviting people, as I mentioned, IS, IPS officers. We have politicians, we have entrepreneurs, CEOs from the different companies, and also filmmaker like Vikram Khatri, filmmaker like Vivek Agnihotri recently joined with us, and also there are many filmmakers upcoming in 5 years. There will, you can find many good people who are coming and sharing their knowledge. So this initiative just for bringing human values, making people aware, sharing their experience, what they have gone through, and it is useful for our audience to understand that. In addition of that, Transcontinental Times recently joined as a media partner with UIS, so Sustainable Development Goal for World Council, and we will try to bring gender equality like women empowerment, no poverty, no hunger, that kind of issues to support all our world, not only not only Asia or not only Europe, because we are catering Europe, America, Asia, and Africa. So this is what our journalists all working together since last 1 year, and possibly we will keep doing this kind of work. So thank you, Vikram, for joining with us, and looking forward to see you again. Thanks. Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you so much. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.